A leader does things for people. A good leader does things with people, whereas a great leader does things through people. And I want to ask you today, which one are you? A leader, a good leader, or a great leader? That was the high point of our discussion at the last episode of Leaders Arise. Welcome to today's episode of Leaders Arise with Demola Awoyele. I began discussing the power of delegation at the last episode, and that led us to those points I just finished mentioning about how to transit from being a leader to being a good leader to being a great leader. It's all about learning how to delegate. One point I want to share with you today is the fact that people love to be involved. And that was one of the most important lessons I have ever learned in leadership. I used to think that people do not like to be disturbed. You get what I'm trying to say? For example, if you're a parent at home, you probably have this idea that your daughter or your son does not want to be disturbed. If you're a pastor of a local church, you probably have this idea or sense that your members, they are too busy, they don't want to be disturbed, they don't want to get interested or involved as far as the work of the ministry is concerned. And that is perhaps the reason why a lot of leaders do not delegate. They want to do all the work by themselves because they have this false understanding that people do not want to be involved. And that is not true. And that is what I want to emphasize today. That you will not succeed at delegating if you have this false assumption that people do not want to be involved. Even the people that look uninterested in what you are doing, they are only waiting for you to call on them, and guess what? They swing into action immediately. So, dear leader, I want to challenge you today to quit that mentality of assuming or thinking that people do not want to be involved, or quit this assumption that make you feel that people are too busy, that they cannot get involved with what you are doing. Obviously, people have to be busy. Now, let me say this very quickly, especially in involving talented people, in involving people that are very sound. Because we have this idea, for example, if you have professionals around your church or around your work, all right, obviously they are busy. Bankers are busy, doctors are busy, tech guys are busy, and all of that. All right, but you need their skill, as it were. You need their involvement in your leadership. So there's this assumption that, oh, these guys are busy. Yes, they are busy, but the truth of the matter is, once you paint a picture of something worth living for, something worth, if I may say, dying for, no matter how busy they are, they can still adjust their schedule to be a part of what it is that God is doing through you. In fact, a lot of them are waiting for opportunities to be involved. Like the average human would not want to posture as being forward. People do not want to join what you are doing with the fear or with the thinking that they don't want to posture as though they are forward. So an average person is waiting for you to call them. Remember, Jesus had to make the call for all of his disciples. He saw all of them busy. In Matthew was at the tax office collecting taxes, as it were. Peter was on the sea catching fishes, and quite a number of other people that he enlisted in his leadership. All these people were busy, and these were actually people that he needed. Listen to me. People that are busy are people that you need. Now, that's a very important point for leaders, especially high-capacity leaders. People that are busy are actually people that you need. Never, okay, let me not say never, because I'll still get to this point on how to get people busy. But, we have this idea that, okay, this guy is busy, so I wouldn't want to enlist him. Oh, those are the kind of people you need, because the people who are busy, when they get into your work, they are going to further that work that people who are hide-do. People who are hide-do, I may be wrong, but over the years, I've come to discover that people who are hide-do, giving them job does not make them busy. Now that looks confusing, because if you really are work-driven, you shouldn't be idle in the first place. Remember, the kingdom of God forbids idleness. Jesus got to gave us a parable of the servant, or of the master that was hiring servants to get on his field, and he saw some at the 11th hour. He said, "Why are you still loafing?" And he said, "Because no man has hired us." Now that's the problem. People who are high capacity leaders, they don't wait for people to hire them. But that's not the point of my discussion today. What I'm emphasizing is this: the assumption that because people are busy, they won't get involved or interested in what you are doing is nothing but an assumption. It's a myth that you have got to debunk. You must learn how to call people into what it is that you are doing despite their supposed busyness. Now, that might look like a very high-sounding, techie kind of statement. For example, your child at home as a parent can tell you he's busy. "Oh, Grace, what are you doing?" "Mom, I'm busy." "Doing what?" You want to ask. Excuse me. Doing what? You want to ask. You know, a lot of children are actually busy watching cartoons. Yeah, that's their own form of, a lot, or not all actually. And if you see the way some of them sit behind the TV, like my children, they do that, sometimes sit behind the TV and they are so focused as if they want to write exam on the cartoon that they are watching. Now, if you see your child with that kind of focus on the TV screen, you say, "I don't want to disturb her." Oh, you have to disturb her. And you will get to understand that they will not really see it as disturbance. They will see it, number one, which is what I want to talk about today, that you believe in them enough to involve them. So involving people in your work is a signal of your faith in them. And not involving people is an indirect communication that you don't believe in them. The truth of the matter is, people thrive in an environment where people believe in them. So when you ask them, "Come and do this," like my daughter, I'm sorry for using my daughter. I love to use what I've gone through to explain what I'm explaining. Like anytime you tell my daughter she will do something, except once in a while that, at least that's typical of an average children, just want to be childish and all of that. But in most of the times, there is this excitement. All right? Tell my daughter, "By tomorrow you will do this." Tomorrow will not come before she starts saying, "Daddy, that thing you say I will do." There's an excitement because it communicates to them or to her that Dad believes in you. So one of the lessons you go to learn about delegation is that delegation communicates to the delegatee or to the follower or the led that the leader believes in him or her. But when you don't delegate to people, you are indirectly telling them that I'm not sure you can deliver. I am not sure you have what it takes to bring about the results that we are expecting. Don't forget the emphasis of our teaching today is that bust the myth that people are busy. Bust the myth that people do not want to be involved. Bust the myth that people are not interested. In my own work in leadership, for instance, there are people that I saw around my work that if they ever told me they can be disinvolved and available, I would say it's a lie. Because when they first came to our organization, they came as uninterested people. Like I said, an average person wants to respect himself. He doesn't want to jump at things. He doesn't want to appear forward. So you see people like that. So when I see the way they now get involved, in fact, my wife tells me at home, she said, dear, who can ever say that brother or that sister can be this dedicated? But when they came around to our ministry, they came as though they are busy. In fact, some of them, once the grace is shared, they are already at the exit, wanting to take their leave. All right, you want to assume, that brother must be busy. That's why he always leaves immediately. He leaves immediately because he has no reason to stay. That's just a commonsensical thing to do. When you get to a place and you have nothing to do, you have nothing to participate in, once they share the grace, or maybe it's a church, for instance, you want to take your leave. But I have seen people spend hours after church service. People that on a good day, you would never have thought that they would spend such an amount of time. But there they are now, staying in church, spending hours in church. Who would have ever thought that? But the paradigm changed because somebody involved them. I actually involved them. All right. I actually involved them. I actually made them to understand that I know you are busy, But if you see something worth committing your time, energy, attention, and maybe resources to, I'm sure you would not have minded. That is why one great leader taught me several years ago. He talked about the power of the big ask. Every leader must learn to make the big ask. I call it the big ask because it looks like something big to ask for. That guy is busy, that guy is this, is that lady is this or that. It's a big ask, but don't be afraid to me. Jesus made the big ask. In fact, most of Jesus' disciples, they looked uninterested. I can imagine when Jesus got to the seashore or the seaside to hold his crusade, Peter wasn't paying attention. Peter looks uninterested. Obviously, how could he have been interested? Because he's getting frustrated already at his business. He's looking for ways to get better profit in his business. But Jesus said, can I have your boat? Jesus wasn't actually asking for a boat. He was asking for his life. Jesus used the boat, as it were, to attract Peter's attention. That was why when Jesus finished using the boat, the commitment of Peter to Jesus was beyond the boat. Peter gave him his life. That's how powerful it is to make the big ask. So, dear pastor, make the big ask in your church. Dear employer of labor, make the big ask in your organization. Dear parent, make the big ask. Tell your son, tell your daughter to get involved in things that, ordinarily speaking, it looks as though they are too busy, they are too cute, they are too uninterested, maybe they are too lazy. Most people are not lazy. They did not find the right kind of work. Don't forget what I said. I said most people are not lazy. It's only that they have not found the right kind of work. When a man finds the right kind of work, you will be amazed when you see that this man is not actually busy. I want to stop here on today's episode of Leaders Arise. My emphasis today has been the fact that leaders must not fall for the assumption that people are not interested or don't want to get involved in what you are doing, or that they are busy or lazy. You must learn to make the big ask. You will be amazed at the result you will get, that the seeming uninterested person in your team can be the greatest or biggest crusader of your cause. My name is Demola Awoyele, and this is Leaders Arise. Help me send in your questions, your comments, or feedback. Share this video everywhere you can. Then, of course, like our page if you're on Facebook. Subscribe to our channel if you're on YouTube. Then get set for the next episode of Leaders Arise. Go right there and become the great leader you are ordained to be. Bye for now.